Have you ever burned 20 minutes hunting for a crucial project update only to realize it was buried in a Slack thread from like 3 weeks ago? Or maybe you spent a whole afternoon digging around for a document hilariously named project underscore final underscore v3 underscore actual final? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely eliminate that frustration. We're looking at how to transform static data storage into a dynamic, living ecosystem using Trello. If you've ever felt like your team is just drowning in a mountain of information but completely starved for actual, actionable knowledge, you are definitely in the right place. Let's dive in. Part 1, the hidden cost of silos and why having more data isn't always better. So here's the core issue every modern professional faces. Think about it. Why do businesses with endless data still struggle? We're generating more information right now than at any other point in human history. But in practice, project updates get scattered across 3 different chat tools. Strategy docs are buried 6 folders deep in a cloud drive, and honestly, nobody remembers the naming convention for that drive. Vital meeting notes? They just vanish into the digital ether. See, we rarely struggle because we lack information. We struggle because that knowledge exists, but it's completely locked away. It just can't be located, connected, or reused effectively. And this creates some serious symptoms of disconnected knowledge. When marketing is in one isolated system, operations is in another, and leadership decisions are hiding out in private email chains, it severely limits performance. Teams literally end up repeating massive amounts of work that someone else in the company has already finished. Decision-making slows to an absolute crawl while people hunt for context. Onboarding drops in effectiveness. And worst of all, when Sarah from IT leaves for a new job, her undocumented fixes, that crucial institutional knowledge, just walks right out the door with her. Instead of improving on what's there, teams are forced to start from scratch every single time. Which brings us to visual knowledge management explained, moving beyond simple storage. To fix this massive silo problem, progressive organizations are adopting a totally different framework. It's called visual knowledge management. Now, this is an approach focused entirely on making information visible, connected, and actionable. It prioritizes workflow continuity over just, static storage. The goal isn't simply to preserve old files. Think of traditional storage like a dusty digital library where information just goes to die. Visual knowledge management, on the other hand, is more like a bustling professional kitchen. Every single ingredient is laid out perfectly, exactly where the chef needs it, right at the exact moment they need it. It bakes knowledge directly into your everyday business activities. So the crucial point here is this powerful shift in mindset between traditional repositories and a visual knowledge ecosystem. In a traditional setup, an employee's first thought is, okay, where is that information stored? They instantly have to play archaeologist, digging around for relics. But in a visual ecosystem, transparency is immediate. Because information is linked directly to execution, the question transforms completely to what action should happen next. You stop searching and you instantly start doing. It's a real game changer. Let's talk about rethinking Trello's true value, moving beyond standard project management. Now, Trello is obviously known as a simple way to manage tasks, but its visual structure offers some incredibly deep strategic value when you use it intentionally. We're looking at ecosystem elements like boards, lists, cards, labels, automation, and integrations. It is not just about dragging cards around. Labels, for instance, don't just mark priority, they can categorize entire branches of institutional knowledge. Automations don't just move cards, they ping the exact right person at the perfect time to review a document. Integrations pull real-time data from your inbox directly into the workspace. By leveraging all of this, your Trello space becomes a living, breathing knowledge ecosystem. And in this living ecosystem, everything connects instantly. Research findings don't sit in a void. They move right into operational execution. Meeting outcomes, they don't just sit there statically in a Google Doc. They instantly become action. Actual Trello cards assigned to specific owners with strict due dates attached. Training materials become evolving resources, not some boring static PDF, but a dynamic space where new hires can ask questions directly on the card itself. The whole shebang shifts so employees completely stop hunting for files and focus 100% on outcomes. So how do we actually build this? Let's look at designing your knowledge ecosystem. Building from movement, not storage. The very first step here is identifying the 5 major knowledge categories across your entire organization. You have to know what you're working with, right? First step, operational knowledge. That's your daily workflows and standard procedures. Second is strategic knowledge, so your big picture planning and objectives. Third, we have team knowledge, which covers your training resources and onboarding.
Fourth is customer knowledge, generated directly from feedback. And finally, innovation knowledge, which tracks your future initiatives. Getting these sorted first is absolutely crucial. Once you've got those categories nailed down, you structure your boards to support an information progression. Remember, the core philosophy here is movement, not storage. Because Trello is so deeply visual, these stages, incoming knowledge, review, approval, implementation, and learning, these represent the actual lists on your board. The information literally moves from left to right. It starts as incoming knowledge, slides over to review, goes to approval, hits implementation, and finally lands in a list dedicated to learning. By designing it this way, knowledge is never just parked or forgotten. It's always moving. To keep that momentum flowing left to right, you need to think of every individual Trello card as a completely self-contained package. It needs these essential elements: context, supporting resources, ownership, deadlines, and collaborative discussion. All the supporting files should be attached directly to the card, not link out in some random email thread. It needs clear ownership, hard deadlines, and a dedicated comment space for collaboration. When you enforce this checklist, the next person in the workflow knows exactly what to do. You're basically eliminating those dreaded, "Hey, what did you mean by this?" direct messages for good. Moving on to our final section, turning information into action and building sustainable workflows. Look, gathering information perfectly is a great start, but it's not enough to actually win. Knowledge only creates true value when it drives action. We do this through a continuous cycle: capture, organize, evaluate, implement, and then learn and improve. Imagine a piece of customer feedback. You capture the complaint, organize it into the right category, evaluate the root cause, implement a fix, and then, crucially, learn from the results to prevent it from happening again. Over time, executing this exact cycle builds a beautifully self-improving system. Now, you can really supercharge this cycle using automation for the routine stuff. Automation reduces repetitive work, cuts down the administrative burden, and handles all those little notifications, like let Trello's Butler automation ping a manager if a card sits in review for more than 2 days. But, and this is a big but, you cannot replace human judgment. Human judgment is essential for context, interpretation, and strategic decisions. So the golden rule here: let the bots handle the administrative heavy lifting so your human team can focus on the actual strategy. Let's look at this comparison, because it is incredibly easy to fall into a few common traps here. For example, treating a visual tool like Trello as just another file archive. That completely destroys its effectiveness. You want a continuous cycle of action instead. Creating overcomplicated board structures with 30 different lists, that just causes absolute confusion. What you actually need is clear, simple visual movement. And weak governance and maintenance, that leads to messy data and broken trust. You have to prioritize a self-improving, regularly updated system to keep things sustainable. As progressive organizations finally move away from hidden, static documentation, one truth becomes incredibly clear. The businesses that gain a true competitive advantage aren't necessarily those with the most information. Having petabytes of data literally means nothing if you can't use it. The true winners rely on connected, breathing knowledge environments built around total visibility, seamless collaboration, and continuous daily learning. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Take a hard look at your own daily operations right now. Will your business just store information or transform it into intelligent action? Are you just hoarding data in disconnected silos, letting brilliant insights gather digital dust? Or are you actively using it to drive your business forward? The tools to build a living, breathing knowledge ecosystem are sitting right at your fingertips. It's time to put them to work.